Well, hi everyone. I have a new material which I'd like to show you today. I was looking around on the Green Stuff World store recently. You may have already seen the UV putty and the cutting block, which has just arrived on my store from Green Stuff. But I was looking around and I came across another material. I was looking for something to do water effects, something that I could use as a sealant, as a glue, but also to give certain surfaces a sort of matte or gloss finish. Without spraying on or painting on, I guess, traditional varnish. I wondered if there was something else I could use. And as luck would have it, Green Stuff have something that basically covers all those bases, and that's what I want to show you today. Let me get the pots over because they are quite substantial. What it is decoupage material. I mean, decoupage has been around for centuries. It's the idea that you can put some kind of decoration onto a surface and then you seal it with a varnish or some other material. What Green Stuff have done, they've created a satin finish, a matte finish, and a gloss finish in their decoupage range. So these pots are substantial. You get 250 milliliters of each material. Um, what I liked was the versatility. I like the idea that I could choose one of these materials depending on what I wanted to do. I mean, for instance, if I wanted to put a gloss finish onto some material, and I wanted to paint that on, I could paint on, I guess, traditional varnishes, but really they should be sort of airbrushed. I'm thinking of the Vallejo range and VMS and all this kind of thing. I wanted something I could maybe just paint on to give me a sort of a sheen or some kind of gloss finish. Likewise, if I wanted a satin finish, this one worked rather well. Now, the interesting one also is this gloss material. Um, it's it works really well for small water effects. For instance, let me get over a smaller diorama which I completed a while back. This guy. For instance, if I wanted to put some say water effects on his nearest feet, say the old drum was leaking or something. This stuff is absolutely perfect. Even that finish, I'd probably go gloss finish actually, because I think it would give me a better finish when it's actually painted on. Um, the actual material is quite it really does flow. It's very it has a viscous quality to it. But once you paint it on, it goes absolutely rock hard when it's actually cured. I mean, they do say curing is 3 to 4 weeks, which I know is a crazy time, but actually the sort of drying time really is sort of 20 to 30 minutes, and it's pretty much touch dry. So if you're going to tint this stuff, as I say, for a water effect, or I could paint on, for instance, the satin finish onto his boots, say, to show that he's got some kind of material onto his boots, and I could tint this material as well. What I would say is the gloss finish is pretty much transparent. These two, they kind of behave just like PVA glue. That's how I describe them and the consistency. I think it's sort of sold as an acrylic adhesive, a sealer, and varnish. So you kind of get three in one with these things. But the satin and the matte do behave just like PVA. So if you're used to using that as a sealant, or if you were doing some kind of effects on a diorama, for instance, say if you were pointing, say, newspapers onto a bench or a diorama, or say if I were to put some flyers on there or any kind of paper-based material, one of these would be ideal. It's it's that kind of finish which you're looking for when you want more control. When you want to put this stuff on with a brush, particularly if you want to use it as a glue, for instance. I mean, I put some sort of grass tufts onto this diorama. There's no reason why I couldn't have used one of these materials as a glue, because it works just as well. It does say on the instructions that as a sealer and a varnish, and do apply thin coats, and it's really versatile. I've been finding. I like the idea that I can have a gloss, matte, or satin finish, depending on what I want to do. And often I'll have all three finishes on the same piece. They also say that, for instance, if you're doing, say, figures like this one, if you wanted to create more of I guess a sort of sheen over what say a knapsack, for instance, then the satin finish will be good. If you want to do say a leather effect or you know something like that, or if you just wanted to take some surfaces back a little bit, you know, you painted them, but they're still a little bit too bright. These materials could be quite good because they tend to give the surface, I guess, more of a patina, I suppose you'd call it, that kind of thing. And I've also seen this material used with these kind of figures. I'm talking to you, tabletop gamers, because they have so many different surfaces often on these figures, metal surfaces, material surfaces. These three might be ideal because it gives you the opportunity to have gloss, satin, and and a matte finish, depending on what's actually on the figure. So yeah, these could be quite useful. So that's the decoupage material. So I've been using it for a couple of weeks on various applications, on figures, on dioramas, even on parts from kits. I'm doing some engines, for instance. So I've been using the matte finish just to tint the engine with a different color. Or if I'm doing some weathering on a certain part, I've been finding the matte and the satin, when they're sort of diluted and maybe tinted with paint, I can get various kinds of finishes, which I can then just paint on. Um, this stuff will dilute quite well. Mostly because it's got a lot of viscosity, as it says. Um, and they kind of behave a little bit like very thin paint. So say these two, they do behave like PVA glue. So if you have experience of using that stuff, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. The the glosses are very low viscosity. That does need more care when you're moving it around. Don't pour it. Pour it into a receptacle, and then you could even use a dropper, pipette, to drop it onto areas. And I have seen people do that to fix debris or leaf litter, that kind of thing. But I put some debris here. I used a different material, but there's no reason why I couldn't have used the gloss or even the matte finish to fix that material to the diorama. So that's the decoupage material, which is an acrylic adhesive, sealant, and a varnish. You get three in one with this material. And so it comes in a satin finish, a gloss, and a matte finish. That's on the store as you watch this. As always, if you've got any questions, any queries, do come back to me.